steampunk. So I have dressed for you this day. For my students, on the other hand, this is our next project, and it's a little different because I'm using tracing paper, all right? If you don't have any tracing paper, and this goes for my steampunk friends as well, if you don't have tracing paper, you can always use parchment that's probably in your cabinet that you cook cookies on. It'll work the same way, all right? So the first thing you're going to want to do, if you want to make it easy, now you can fold it in half and then quarters and then eighths, and you'd have a base 8. You're welcome to do that, all right? Or you can do your handy dandy download and download a hex. And that way you have a base 6. And I normally do base 6 primarily for when I do a color wheel hidden within the mandala, which is what we're going to create. Kind of a Zentangle, copyright infringement, of patterns of mandala. And I will post pictures as well of the finished product. All right, so we'll do that later this evening because our sun is dying. All right, so here's what you do. Come on over, I show you. What you're going to do is you lay it down, and I traced the 6 lines, all right? So now this becomes null and void. Don't need it anymore. Now I take it, and I'm going to fold the paper. No cutting needed. Normally what I do, and you can do this at home, is I take black paper, and I do this with black paper, and then I hand cut it out, kind of like you do a snowflake, you know? But I decided that, you know what, for the sake of speed and of interest, you know, Lord knows we have enough stress in our lives, that I wanted to do something that was a lot easier. Now, I want you to notice when I folded on the first line, I folded it this way. So when we make a paper airplane, flip it. The reason I do that is so that the creases don't bundle up on me and they have to line up correctly, all right? Now, if you're going to make this a circle, you handle it like an ice cream cone, just like an ice cream cone, just like this. And then what I do is I go around here, because mandalas are traditionally round. And you can look it up on Google about mandalas. I love them. I absolutely love them. I'm very moved by them. All right? So next step. And don't trust my hand right now. So I'm going to actually flip my very overly large clipboard over. So in case my hand slips with the Sharpie, and you're going to want a wide end Sharpie, or you can use regular ink with a paintbrush. You can use regular marker. I mean, it's all about building a framework. And I want you to think about when you were a kid. You remember when you made snowflakes and you cut out snowflakes? Well, the same deal's going to happen here. We're going to make those lines come down as connectors, all right? The difference, though, is we can get really ornate with our divisions because we're not cutting them out, all right? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a band here and then a band here. And yes, my steampunk people, if you wanted to, you could trace gears on this. Matter of fact, I don't know how good I'm going to be, but we're going to try it because I'm feeling particularly festive. I really miss my steampunk family. We're looking forward to hopefully getting together in the fall at COGS. So, and if those of my students want to see that, you're more than welcome to join us at COGS. It is family friendly. We have tea. We have a high tea, as a matter of fact. And there's about 100, 200, 300 vendors. I mean, there's vendors all over the place. And those artisans, we call them makers, and they are absolutely phenomenal. You will know me not as someone who draws there, but I am their potter. So you would look for Solstice Born Pottery, and you can go online and look up my site that way, Solstice Born Pottery, and you can join me there. But I was thrilled that Jeremiah invited me to make a video that could be shown at our virtual COGS. And our virtual Key City is another huge steampunk group. And there's so many really amazing steampunkers out there. For those who don't know what steampunk is, may I suggest that you look it up and join us. We have a lot of fun. All right, so now we're going to open this up. You flip it over and you trace it like so and so. And I'm going as quick as I can because, as I said, we're trying to keep around 15 minutes. They said 15 minutes to 30 minutes, but I've never uploaded a video longer than 8 minutes, I think, is the maximum we've ever done. So this will be a new thing for me. You can also go to my website that we have our own YouTube channel, which obviously you have found, but you could share with others, is Mark Shira Art. And you'll find a bunch of projects every week. I teach my students this way, which I'm hoping my students are tuned in right now. And you can do whatever you want, my students. Any pattern you want to do. All right? Now you open it up and take a look. See that opened up into a mirror? Now what we're going to do is I'm going to carefully fold this. Let's see. Yep. I'm going to fold it like this. Get the next one, and I'm moving as quick as I can. And keep in mind how you end up finishing this after all of your patterns are drawn. I'll end up coloring this with glow-in-the-dark paint. You can do regular watercolors on it. You can do markers from behind it, hang it up in your window to look like stained glass if you're using parchment. It's totally up to you. And for those of you makers out there that do have black paper and scissors, you can do this as well with scissors and X-Acto blades and cut them out and mount it on glow-in-the-dark paper. And that's what I normally have when I'm at the convention. So that I like things that glow in the dark. I like bringing the piece to life in the dark, because I think our world has entirely too much darkness in it, and I like creating some light. So I'm not sure about our time. I'm doing as quickly as I can. My hands are not as fast in the evening as they are in the morning. That's another interesting thing about getting old. All right, and then finally, we've got over half done. There we go. And you have to also be really careful you don't drag your hands through the wet the wet Sharpie, because as you can see, you will get smears. I am getting a few smears here and there. All right, and then all I've got to do now to complete my mandala's framework. Think of it like a big stained glass, and you're laying down the lead. All right, that's what you're doing. You're laying down the lead. That's why you want a big, thick marker or a thick brush. And you can alter and clean up. If you do this all in pencil, then you can go back in with a compass and clean things up. But for the sake of a demonstration, I am keeping my absolute best in keeping the speed up. So obviously yours is going to look so much better than mine. But this one's all right. This one's all right. And I don't want you to in any way, shape, or form be down on your artwork. Remember, it takes guts to be an artist. You're putting what's in your heart and your head out for everyone to see. And it's really the joy of making that has intrigued me over the years. All right, here we go. Here's another one. And here we are. All right, and that is my main frame. All right, so there you go on the main frame. Not bad. So I'm going to flip this back over real quick, and I'm only going to do one of them. Now, I should tell you, if you want to hide a color wheel in it, I happen to have this out. This is done with the cut paper, and it shows you how you can actually hide a color wheel within your mandala, and that's a usual project I do with our students. So we're going to put this down here like this, and you're going to zoom in because we're going to switch out from the big fat marker, and we're going to feel around it here and get out a very fine marker. Now, I suggest you grab a sheet of paper and put that over where you're working, so your hand, in case it's wet, you don't want your hand to smear. You don't want any of that to smear out. So keeping a piece of paper there is a good thing. Oops. And you know what? In my rush, it always bugs me, and this will happen to you too, not a problem. You can always fix it, but you want to enclose it, especially if you're going to paint it. All right? And yes, if you use transparent paint with this, it comes out really neat. All right, when it comes to patterns, I want you to Google Zentangle is an excellent source for patterns. Your own clothing is an excellent source for patterns. There are patterns everywhere, all right? But I want you to fill a different pattern in each and every one of these sections, all right? And relax with it. Obviously, I'm rushing, so there's not much relaxing and zen going on here. But with yours, what you could do is something as simple as this. I'll do what I call double arrows, okay? I make my double arrows like this. And I've just had a sign that I've got 5 minutes left to get all of this done. All right, and that's what I'm going to try. And I'm just doing the one. But I want you to find a quiet place in your brain, and I want you to really do different patterns. Please don't just put some dots and call it done. No, 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 no. This is meant to free you and enjoy what we're doing. That's the key. All right? So I'm almost finished with this one. And my other helpful suggestion when it comes to making a successful one is try not to do two types. There's a couple of types of patterns. There's random patterns, there's even patterns, there's organic patterns, there's all kinds of patterns. But if I'm going to do my next pattern up here, I obviously don't want a straight line pattern. Instead, I would definitely do something more rounded. All right? I've had some of my students in the past, and you could do the same thing, have written lyrics. All right? And I want you to notice that, yes, I instinctively do a grid. I love the grid. The grid gives me even patterns that look like I planned it. That's kind of the key. I don't want it to look, kind of funky doodle here. All right? And then in between, I can go in with diamonds. I like to call these diamonds and pearls. So we could throw in some diamonds. But the idea is you don't want a lot of dead space. You want it to literally be filled with patterns, kind of like the mask material that everyone's wearing now. The most attractive are not just the plain blue and all. All right, well, I can see my camera is pulling out from the corner of my eye, and that tells me you're going over your 5 minutes. Let's tie this pup up. Anyway, to my students, I absolutely miss you. I miss being in the classroom. I miss doing things like this with you one-on-one, encouraging you. And for my steampunk family, God, I miss you. I looked so forward to this weekend, and we'll get our time together. But until then, find some peace, find some zen. I think we all could use it. Till we meet again, my friends, be well.